But what I want right now is for Stacy, our secretary, to read a little bit about the history of this movement that we are involved in right now. We are not fighting. We don't need to fight. We've already won. All we need to do is practice. So, Stacy, are you ready?
Yeah, and just like to inform everybody, we are on the Zoom. Proclamation, information, and history. ASALA was founded on September 9th, 1915 in Chicago, Illinois by Carter G. Woodson, Ph.D., with the support of A.L. Jackson, the director of Wabash Avenue YMCA, Dr. George Cleveland Hall, M.D., and J.E. Stamps, as well as W.B. Hartgrove. The Association for the Study of African American Life and History has branches throughout the United States and beyond. It was the first national organization started by all African American men. The mission of the organization is to research, critique, write, preserve, and disseminate information giving a true account of the life and history of Americans of African heritage.
Thank you.
The Bronx branch was founded in 1973. According to New York history, the abolition of slavery in New York State occurred on July 4th, 1827, and the New York branches took on the pursuit of establishing the first New York State holiday by commemorating this event. The New York branches accomplished the founding of Abolition Commemoration Day in New York State, put into law by the lawmakers of New York State, July 22nd, 2020, designating the second Monday in July as the official celebration date annually. The 2022 celebration of Abolition Commemoration Day was held at the Bronx County Courthouse on July 11, 2022. Our mission lays the groundwork not only to continue the work of Carter G. Woodson, but also to inform and educate the next generation of Americans about the accomplishments and history of Americans of African heritage.
Now, that was just a little of the history of the organization that is sponsoring this program today, and also the Abolition Commemoration Day ceremony. I hope you have that down. This is to go into our history books when this holiday came about. And we had it written, this is to be in all of our history books. And of course, there are many names that need to go in there too, and they will. And if there is anyone else who wants to say something about that, about the founding, that is, of the organization. We are the founders. We are the founders of the Abolition Commemoration holiday. I am Bessie M. Jackson. Right? Thank you very much. Now, if either of you would like to make a statement about that, then I think it would be quite appropriate.
Yeah. Frederick Douglass, July 5th, 1852. This is something that's not taught in the curriculum in the public school system in New York State. Also, the fact that New York City integrated its public school system in 1873, which a whole lot of people are not aware of. They look at Brown Bush Board of Education. But then when I look at Solomon Nuggets, who came from the state of New York, 12 Years a Slave, was Gordon Parks made the first movie back in 1980, so forth. And then the remake came up. But what's interesting about his odyssey was the 2 court cases he lost. One at the state level and one at the federal level. One reason only. In the state of New York and at the federal level in that period of time, a black was not allowed to testify against a white. And that's how he lost on 2 court cases. Because we talk about one issue here in the improvement of quality of life, how the law was used to subjugate us to a life, and how it was against the law for us to learn how to read and write. So we was caught in a dilemma when we was kidnapped, starting in 1501 and brought to this hemisphere. The struggle still continues today. The lack of truth in the curriculum. And when I look at that mess that's going down there in Florida and Texas, how they want to eliminate the truth and history out of the curriculum and have people living up. Then I look at what's really interesting. I look at the Immigration Act of 1965. You got to really read this stuff, which completely rescinded the Immigration Act of 1924 in the United States. And then you ask yourself one question: why people come to the United States of North America? Oh yes, because they refused to fight to correct what's incorrect in their homeland, like our ancestors fought to correct what's incorrect in this land right here, to lay the groundwork for others come behind us, and then they tell us, and I'm going to say it one more time, when these people come from other countries come here, they are told, do not associate with the American-born black because they're lazy. Well, who fought to lay the groundwork for what you're going through today in Wall Street? All I'm talking about is just one issue. Put the truth out there and let the chips fall where they're going to fall. I thank you for your time.
Mrs. Jackson, I have something to share as an urban farmer in New York City. For those of you who don't know, the area of Soho and also of the village, Greenwich Village, 130 acres belong to the first free black farmers in the United States, in the entire United States. One of the things that fascinates me about New York history is New York is full of a lot of firsts.
Yeah.
All of them aren't good, but still, in light of this holiday, we should be extremely proud that New York was ahead of the Emancipation Proclamation. We should be proud that 11, at that time, half-free farmers stood up and said, no, you're not going to do this. You're going to give us our full rights. And they got it. So when you walk around New York City or travel in the city, there is so much untold history. Even names of places.
Right.
For instance, you know, we have a law college named after John Jay. He was a member of the Munition Society that fought to abolish slavery along with Alexander Hamilton. And let's not forget, there were women, and all of them were not black. There were two in particular she used her married name, Mrs. Seaman, Mrs. Will Seaman. And when you stop and think about that mosaic of America that was courageous enough to stand up, black or white, they were risking career, property, life, limb, and that's the America we should create and persist in creating in this day and age. We have to. One of the things we cannot do is to try to use history as a crutch. We are free now. We are free now. And that means being bold enough to put the history in perspective and not backing down from that, but joining arms with all people who want to see people treated humanely no matter who they are. So I did prepare us a slide on this information, and in it I used a quote that I personally love, and that's by John Lewis. When you see a good fight, get in it.
How about that?
That's right.
We said
Good trouble.
Thank you, Sister Jackson. Thank you all who just spoke in the reading of the proclamation of the history of Asala. I was just all in awe. Every time you hear about our history, it just awes you, because like as she said, there's so much history within New York that surrounds us every day. I know I mentioned earlier that I had retired, but I worked in Lower Manhattan on Pearl Street. Okay, and as everyone knows, that history, all of Pearl Street, Chambers Street, everything was the main port of the slavery, of the ships to come in. And the thought that everything was built on top of that, you know, and then the thought of, so many don't know that history of Lower Manhattan. Everything in Lower Manhattan was African American.
How about this?
You know, and it just astonishes me that every time, each step, someone is discovering something else in Lower Manhattan. But there's many of us that knew that was there already, but as you said, we have to make sure that we share and let everybody know what happened down in those areas there that now are being discovered, and now they're becoming museums and everything, but they were always there. You know, but we weren't allowed to know that they were there, for one thing. They didn't want us to know the enrichment that we had and what we've put into New York itself. You know, and then there's many of us who are very naive in regards to New York. You know, a lot of the younger generation, my generation, feel that slavery and everything was just down south.
No.
You know, and many are just learning that there was a lot up here going on just as it was down south. You know, and so if you know that, you should share that with someone. You know, I share it with someone all the time. You know, my family's from the South Carolina, but New York State has had as much slavery as anyone else. Even though our parents and ancestors came up here to have a better life, there was a lot going on up here, you know, at that time. So I thank you so much for the history. It's always good to know our history, and every day is African American history. Every day, because there's something always new that we learn. And Sister Jackson, as far as those people, to me, who are not here, that was a part of agreeing to our special day, we must find some way to put it in their face. Because, and I hope I'm not offending anybody by saying this, it's just that how could you be a part of something and rave about it and even go places and talk about it, but not come and be a part of the organization? You know, so something needs to be done about that, because they really do need to be here. And part of being our representatives is being a part of the community, this community, and all of what this means to us. Because some of them who are on this list, they would not have been here if it was not for that history.
Right,
Okay.
exactly.
Matter of fact, the
And
war
so,
1861.
you know, and me hoping to still be a part of ASALA, I would like to be a part of that to make sure that we are heard. And that when we do have these things, that they come. They go to everything else.
That's right.
Everything else that they go to. You know, and this is something that's very important. And this is something that their presence needs to be here. So as
Hi, can I, if you don't mind, hi, good afternoon, good morning, everyone.
Good.
My name is Sarah E. Delaney, and I'm thankful and grateful that I'm here today. Sister Charles, Patricia Charles, she invited me to come. I got involved with you all about maybe 2 years ago, and I've been injured since then, so I'm glad that I'm back, able enough to participate fully again. And I want to continue on. And what you're saying about a lot of history that's not recorded or not said, my uncle, Hubert T. Blaney, he was a judge. And they just named the street after him, but he was very influential in helping with Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement. And the thing that I noticed is that we don't write our history down. We have many other groups or people recording our history. So we have to write this down. It's our job, and it's our job to inform our children and children that are yet to come of what's going on. There's nothing wrong coming from slavery. There's nothing wrong. There are many people who are not slaves. There are a lot of free people. So they don't know our very rich history. And that's the part that's there. And what people have to realize is where you came from is one thing, but where you're going. And if you don't know where you come from, you don't know where you're going. So you're on a path that somebody else is creating for you. And what we need to do is follow the path that God has chosen for us and the one that we have made a conscious decision to follow. And that's what it's about. As you said earlier, ma'am, the shackles of change, the shackles of slavery are no longer on our hands and feet, so-called, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. But yet still in all, they still have shackles on people's feet, literally. When you have prisoners that are brought out to work at Walmart and McDonald's and taken back to the prisons in the evening. That's not Christian. When you're loaning out prisoners, we're sharecropping again. It's not. So there is a reason, there's a purpose for our jails being full, there's a purpose for things that are happening now, and if we don't take an active stance in this now, it's going to get worse. The Chevron difference is one other thing that's happening. So we have to pay attention. This is a very crucial moment in history that we must pay attention. Politically wise, especially. So voting is very necessary. Whether you say who you want to vote for or how you want to vote for, you have to, because if it's not, someone else will be making the decision.
Thank you.
And we have a choice in that matter. So the only thing I have to say is, when you look at the broad scope of things, a small amount of people are making decisions for the majority. And I'm not talking about the 1% of federalists or the globalists. I'm talking about the people that come out and make these decisions. And grassroots elections are so important. These are your daily life decisions, what's happening in your neighborhood, with your schools, with your plumbing, with your taxes. These are the people that you have to approach. The general elections are very important, but you have to be in contact, and thank you for coming. You understand? Jamani couldn't come today, but he sent a representative. You understand? So we have to do these things. They have very busy schedules, but there's somebody that can represent for them. So this is what's necessary, as you so appropriately stated. You understand? So there's a reason for all this is happening. But I do believe that as a nation, as a people, we have to start recording our own history, because no one can give your history the way you can.
Thank you.
Okay?
One of the things that we do as a people, and maybe I am bragging, but because of the hardship, we had to be creative. We had to, and it became a norm. So there are people in my neighborhood who are outlandishly talented, but walk around like it's just normal, like it's just, business as usual. And I think what you said about documenting, because a lot of people do wonderful things. Even in I know in my own family, there's a whole display of John Deere tractors, built miniature, every single part from things he found, and it's sitting in the garage. It should be in a museum.
Okay.
It's so hard, I think, for us on a daily basis after being accustomed to having to go an extra 10 yards or that we just become comfortable with it and don't promote each other. You know, oh, so-and-so, oh, she good at this. And you haven't told her so, but her or your next door neighbor haven't tried to say, you know what, you can take that a step further and I'll help you.
Connect them with
Right.
somebody that can help them grow.
But it's so true, and it's a very hard wall to break because of the still lingering I'm lesser than. I don't care, some people don't want to admit it, but that's exactly what
Some
it
people don't
is.
even know.
Right, saying, oh, they're not going to take me, or expecting racism when there's none there, and holding yourself back from doing something. So I think that's a worthwhile discussion for Asala and how we can help both adults and young people.
Exactly.
Because it is so true that a lot of skills were developed out of hardship, and people became good at them
Exactly.
and just accepted as normal when it's actually genius.
I just want to end with, many times we cannot say thank you, okay? Some people have moved on, died, transitioned. The organization that helped you as a youth, as a grown-up, not there. The person in office is no longer there. You can't turn around and say thank you to your professors, people in your neighborhood, whoever helped groom you in a proper way. You understand? And then when I say groom you, that's etiquette. Groom you, show you how to live, show you how to become a young woman or a young man, teach you. So many times we can't say thank you to these people, places, or entities, but we can pay it forward. So if I can't say thank you to some groups or people that have helped me in my time, I can turn around and help somebody else. So we can pay it forward. There's a young man sitting in that corner right there. His name is Brother Lafitte. And he's an artist, a musical talent. Now, you understand? And he helps young people with lessons and things of that nature. He's always talking to young black men, period. And I'm not saying anything wrong, but I'm a black woman. So I am very interested in the uplifting of my race, as well as others. And I don't see when somebody else's race wants to uplift and celebrate themselves, I say fine, thank you, and go ahead. So when I celebrate my own, I don't see anything wrong with it. Not at all. So this is the culmination of what you've done, Mr. Jackson, with everyone and what Asala has done, starting back. So this is what we need to continue on, and as I said, pay it forward. So whatever my hands can do to help, my mind or my so-called talents, what I have, what God has gifted me with, I will use them for that. Thank you.
This gentleman has something.
Hello, everybody. My name is Cedric Washington. I was invited here by Patricia Charles. And the interesting thing is that I had never heard of the Abolitionist Commemoration Day or any of it. But I happen to have been struck by the fact that the brother mentioned a few names like Frederick Douglass. Well, I was a part of the Tashaka Ensemble, who is the child, theater child of the actor Lou Myers. I know you may know him, his Broadway work, his television work, Different World, Cosby Show. So what he did was, we've been together since 1970s, the mid-70s, and in 75 he produced a play called Footsteps from Before. Now, Footsteps from Before was a production that had the meeting of the minds of Booker T. Washington, Frederick Douglass, Nat Turner, Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman, John Brown, Nat Turner, and the whole statement and it was recorded on video production. So we have a copy of this that should be in the hands of this organization. So as a way to teach the young. And it's a theatrical piece, but Lou Myers made sure that our characters fit into the roles. I played the part of Bilbo Jangles Robinson. And, you know, I couldn't dance because it wasn't about dancing, the play. Because there was so many things that was happening, the conflict between W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington, and all of the different feelings that came out of the production. So I just wanted to share that with you. And one of the things that I do on an annual basis, and this is our 10th, is a tribute to Lou Myers.
Okay.
We do this in Marcus Garvey Park. We started our theater group in Marcus Garvey Park Recreation Center when it was Morris.
Okay.
So I've been on the road and I never heard of this.
Well,
Okay?
Promote it at that.
Well, please
You can
share
promote it
your
on that
info
day.
and
I mean,
brochure.
we are, and if we could get a representative to come and speak, it's an open mic forum, you know, and 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you know, whatever we decide, we can definitely use this platform to
Right.
promote that because that's what it's about.
Right.
On occasions, some of the actors from the theater company will come and do their characters. We did Shakespeare, we did Greek tragedies, and all of this was produced by Lou Myers as a part of our program. And we've been doing programs on that stage that many years, but footsteps from before. You know, I would like to make a way to get that to this organization so it could be screened, you know, because it's in a position where we could offer it as a screening, you know, so that some of the young people that we want to reach could definitely come and view almost from the person that made the statements. And it is intense.
Can you leave your information with us, please?
And also, there is a possibility of the actual production being presented again. Because the actors are still close at hand. So you can probably get a real feeling from the live show, but the tape is just as good.
Okay.
Thank you, Cedric Washington.
Okay.
Thank you.